Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to pull out the key knowledge, the really useful insights from different sources, helping you get up to speed. Today, we're jumping into a really fascinating look at relationships, careers, self-discovery, all playing out in the intense world of academia. And our guide, the surprisingly insightful romance at the heart of the love hypothesis.
Mhm.
It got huge praise. Christina Lauren even called it contemporary romance's unicorn, the elusive marriage of deeply brainy and delightfully escapist.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here, I think, is how the novel isn't just, a sweet story. It's actually quite meticulously crafted. It gives us a kind of shortcut to understanding some really complex character dynamics and maybe some surprising truths about academic life itself. So, our mission today, to really extract those key insights, see how fiction can sometimes show us profound things about, well, about our own lives.
Okay, let's dive right in then. So we start with Olive Smith. She's this brilliant Stanford biology PhD student, like seriously smart, almost perfect GRE scores and
Uh-huh.
GPA. And in this moment of, I guess, sheer panic, trying to help her best friend Anne get over Olive's ex, Jeremy just grabs someone and kisses them publicly, impulsively. And who does she kiss? None other than Adam Carlson, the notorious, totally unapproachable professor. Her reaction afterwards, just a simple kind of stunned, nope.
Right. That nope says so much, doesn't it? Especially when you think about Adam Carlson's reputation. It's formidable. Olive herself heard him called the destroyer of research careers. Other students, they see him as antagonistic and unapproachable, just difficult. But here's the interesting bit. Olive notices that right then, with her, he sounds puzzled and maybe a little out of breath. So that raises a really important question for us, I think. How does this scary public image square with his initial reaction? It seems almost human, vulnerable even. It's maybe the first clue that what you see or hear isn't always the whole picture.
It really is. That contrast, it just hooks you immediately.
Yeah.
So Olive, she's trying to manage this mess she's made, right?
Mm.
And she tries to lay down ground rules for this fake relationship they now have to pretend to have. She mentions being familiar with the trope, from fiction.
Hmm.
And Adam's response is just this completely blank, the what?
Huh. Yeah, exactly. He's totally lost.
And you see his dry wit pretty early, too.
Yeah.
Like when Olive suggests maybe they could just tell people she broke up with him, he just deadpans. That's very flattering.
Mm-hmm.
So how do these little moments, his wit, his confusion about the romance trope, how do they start chipping away at that scary professor image right away?
No, they're crucial, aren't they? They immediately highlight that gap between perception and, well, reality. And as we dig deeper, Adam starts doing these things, these surprising acts of kindness that just completely challenge the public persona. Like, right after that kiss, Olive's clearly distressed, and his first response, really soft, is everything okay? Completely unexpected.
Yeah, totally.
Then he offers to walk her to her car, his reason, in case Anne's still around. And Olive herself thinks, okay, that's a kind offer, surprisingly so.
Yeah.
Especially coming from Adam, I'm too good for this department, Carlson, right? It's these small, consistent things that start to reveal something deeper. Maybe true character isn't in the big gestures, but in these quiet moments. How someone acts when they think maybe no one's really watching. It challenges our assumptions, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's those little details that build him into more than just, the grumpy professor stereotype. As this fake dating thing goes on, we find out more about his quirks. Like his tastes are super simple. Black coffee, plain bagels, plain cream cheese, salt and vinegar chips.
Right. Very specific.
Yeah. And his moodiness. Olive starts to pick up on it, and she actually finds it oddly endearing. We also get these glimpses of his background. He's 34, an only child of financially rich but emotionally poor parents, which says a lot.
Yeah.
His mom was a U.S. ambassador to the Netherlands, actually, so he speaks multiple languages. He throws out a war is day WC, where's the restroom in Dutch at one point. What's striking about these details, I think, is how they just make him seem more real, less of an archetype.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these moments that seem small, like him giving Olive his biology ninja t-shirt to sleep in, which, by the way, apparently smelled heavenly.
Right. Important detail.
It is an important detail. It shows this growing intimacy, this comfort level developing between them. These moments, they slowly peel back the layers of that brooding and mysterious exterior people see. What's so well done here is how the story uses these everyday mundane things to build a really profound emotional connection. And like you said, chip away at that public image.
Yeah. Okay, shifting gears slightly. The book doesn't shy away from the academic pressure cooker these characters are in. I mean, it mentions grad students often working 80 hours a week in the lab. That's just intense.
Oh, absolutely brutal.
And then there's the money stuff, the financial stress, like Adam's research funds getting frozen just because of rumors he might leave Stanford.
Hmm.
It's not just a plot point, is it? It feels like a really stark look at the burnout and the precarity that can come with that kind of research career.
Exactly. And Adam's own past wasn't exactly smooth sailing academically either. It adds another layer. Turns out he almost didn't graduate high school, got suspended for punching someone. And then in grad school, apparently he and his friend Holden Rodriguez, they ticked off their advisor somehow. Their collaborative research got punished. So they were forced to teach like 6 sections of Introduction to Biology per week, which is a huge teaching load for researchers.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's also mentioned that Holden has this very deep, very irrational dislike of Tom Benton. That name comes up later, so it adds this little bit of intrigue about past conflicts, professional rivalries.
Right, setting things up. And Olive, she has her own way of coping with all this pressure. She has this secret online identity, what would Marito, on what sounds like academic Twitter.
Yeah.
And there, she and this online friend, Schmacademics, they support other women in STEM fields. And they also ridicule the STEM lords,
Yeah.
those arrogant types in science. It's kind of a cool look at finding support, anonymously, in these high-pressure fields.
It is. But beneath all that, Olive's dealing with something really deep, this profound personal fear of abandonment. She tells her friend Malcolm, point blank, all of the people I've cared about are gone. Her mom, grandparents, her dad. And this shapes her deepest fear about Adam. If I let myself care, Adam will go too. And this is a crucial question. How does that fear, that really deep-seated fear, kind of subconsciously drive her actions, her decisions, maybe even push people away when she doesn't mean to? It's a powerful look at how past trauma can echo, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That fear explains so much about her hesitation, her choices early on. It makes perfect sense. And despite Adam's whole destroyer reputation, he actually does support her professionally. There's this scene during her presentation where this professor, Tom Benton, there's that name again, starts asking these vague, unhelpful questions, kind of undermining her. And Adam subtly steps in, defends her work, basically. Later, he tells her straight up, your work is brilliant. It's just another piece showing his actual character versus the public perception.
Which leads us right to the big conflict, the tipping point. Tom Benton's betrayal is both professional and personal. So Tom, he's described as a top cancer researcher, right? He tries to basically steal Olive's research ideas and protocols she'd given him in a report, trusting him. And worse, his behavior towards Olive becomes, well, inappropriately suggestive. It crosses a line. Plus, we find out he was planning to lure Adam to Harvard with him, which explains those earlier rumors about Adam leaving and his funds being frozen. It all connects.
Right. And Adam's reaction when all this comes out, it's huge. He tells Olive he had no idea Tom would act like that. He's emphatic. Tom wasn't his friend. Not really. And then the kicker. He says he couldn't care less about the Harvard job or even his grant money being restored. He makes it crystal clear that Olive's well-being, their connection, is way more important than his career. That's a massive moment for him.
A massive moment. And it's the catalyst for Olive's own internal shift. She starts thinking like the scientist she is, even about her emotions. She realizes she made what she calls a type I error, a false positive, believing Adam would definitely leave her when that wasn't true, and also a type 2 error, a false negative, failing to see his real feelings for her, which were there all along. She sees that her fear, her lies meant to protect herself, were actually causing more pain. So she finally chooses vulnerability. She tells Adam the truth, and she tells him in Dutch, using that connection they have, Ik hou van jou, Adam. I love you, Adam. It's a powerful choice. Yeah, it really is. And the ending beautifully resolves her initial hypothesis, doesn't it? Her fear that if I fall in love, things will invariably end poorly. That gets completely disproven. Fast forward 10 months, and she and Adam are in this real, genuine, loving relationship. They're doing normal couple things, hiking trips and delicious ice cream and late-night kisses. It really shows how facing those personal truths, even the scary ones, can lead to real growth, real happiness.
And it's not just personal growth, right? Her career takes off, too.
Well,
She gets a great job at a cancer lab at Berkeley. And there's this lovely little symbolic moment near the end. She finds an old fortune cookie, and the message inside reads, "It's never too late to tell the truth."
yeah.
It just perfectly sums up her whole journey, that breakthrough she had. It applies to everything, personal and professional.
Exactly. And if we step back and look at the bigger picture from this deep dive, what does it really show us? I think it shows that Truly understanding someone, or even yourself, means looking past those first impressions, past the reputations, past our own baggage. Which brings up, I think, an important question for you, the listener. How often do we let what we think we know about someone, or maybe our own past hurts, stop us? Stop us from seeing potentially amazing connections or opportunities that might be right there in front of us.
That's a really powerful thought to sit with. Olive's journey in the love hypothesis is just such a great example of how being vulnerable, challenging your own assumptions, can be totally transformative. But the story doesn't quite end there, does it? There's a little tease for what's next for Olive. She moves again, this time to Houston, for a really cool opportunity, the BLAing program at the Johnson Space Center. Space. And there she meets an astronaut, Guy Kowalski, but then, boom, she immediately runs into Levi Ward, an engineer she hasn't seen in 6 years, and his reaction to apparently pin her against the wall the second he sees her. Okay, let's maybe unpack that whole situation another time. For now, what stands out most to you from Olive's journey into love, academia, and, well, the unknown?